The end is just devastating. I'm just going to say, like, it's beautiful, just intense, just, We're talking about Decision to Leave, a movie that is definitely going to be among the awards contenders with critics groups and hopefully others. It is pretty great. So now is a fantastic time to subscribe to us because we're going to be deep, deep in award season for the foreseeable future. So don't miss a thing. Hit the little button down there. We'd love to have you. We're still carrying on toward our 20,000 subscriber goal, totally arbitrary number that I have set.
And we can do it, dang it.
I think we can. I'm feeling really good about this. And we've had a lot of new folks join us. So thank you for that. But Decision to Leave is a movie you're definitely going to want to hear about and check out. So Alonso, please tell us about it.
젊고 예쁘고 외국인이어서 피의자가 돼야 되냐? 알리바이 입증된 거야.
예쁜 거 인정하시는 거네요.
Yeah, so this is the latest from the legendary Park Chan-wook. I was not aware that he had done the TV version of Little Drummer Girl.
I was not aware of that.
Yeah,
either.
the Jean Le Carré adaptation. So this is his first major film since The Handmaiden, which was one of my favorites that year. Mm-hmm. I know you're a big fan of Stoker. I can't quite join you on that one, but you know,
I love Stoker.
He did Old Boy and Thirst, and like he's a living legend. So this is kind of a policier and kind of a noir and kind of a romance and kind of a lot, but it's all fascinating. And I here's the thing. I went into this not knowing anything, and I really enjoyed not knowing anything. So if you want to skip this review and come back to us after you've seen it, I won't be upset. But I'm going to give you a very bare outline of what happens.
Right.
Park Hae-il, plays a detective. He is an insomniac. His wife lives off in another town running a nuclear reactor while he spends the week in Busan. And he and his partner get assigned to a case of a man who has fallen off a mountain. And is it an accident? Was he pushed? We don't know. Most signs seem to point to it being an accident, but this guy is very thorough. And, you know, again, he doesn't sleep. So he's got plenty of time for research and stakeouts and whatnot. The widow of the man who fell off the mountain is a Chinese woman played by Tang. And there is some murky stuff in her past. She is a nurse. And she assisted her mother's in her mother's death at her mother's request. And so there's a bit of suspicion there, and she's an outsider, and her Korean is not, you know, as sharp as it should be. So there's a lot of like discussion about translating and certain phrases or things that she might not be clear on. And the more time that he spends sort of obsessively investigating her, the closer they become. But it's complicated. She's a widow. He's married, and maybe she murdered her husband, but maybe she didn't, and he's not quite sure. And things unfold from there. And I was on the edge of my seat.
Completely. Because it is very much his Hitchcockian film noir romance thriller. Is this forbidden romance. I love this too. This is absolutely gorgeous, but it's not as nutty as a lot of Park Chan-wook films. No. So if you're looking for like what you see in The Handmaiden, like stuff happens here that is extreme, but not like that. This is
recognizable in our world. Right.
It's him in a more muted palette, muted tone, but no less engaging, no less thrilling, no less mysterious. It's just a fantastic chemistry and sexual tension and romantic tension between these two actors. It's not really so much a who done it as like a why done it, and does it matter done it? Like the fact that they have this interesting push pull, the two of them, between like he doesn't want to really solve the case because he wants to still be near her. And she doesn't want him to solve the case for a lot of reasons. One of which is that she kind of enjoys having him around. Yeah. And it's so tense in such understated ways, such masterfully understated ways. And then there's unexpected little bursts of humor. Like there's a whole running conceit with sushi, like the sushi boxes at the interrogation. And it's so old fashioned as a noir, you know, that he's like this world weary detective and she is this, you know, alluring femme fatale, this damaged woman. And like, he thinks he can save her, but maybe she doesn't need to be saved. And yet it is so totally modern in its use of technology as a through line in this investigation. You mentioned the bit of a language barrier and how increasingly important that becomes, but that manifests itself through like phone messages and translation in a way that feels really seamless, that doesn't betray the timeless roots of the story,
sure,
but brings it up to date.
Well, yeah, I mean, I just saw a thing recently where, Bibbs was reviewing there's a new Stephen King adaptation on Netflix that involves a smartphone, and how in horror, particularly, like the smartphone has kind of been the bane of filmmakers' existence. Because like if you have somebody who's on an abandoned road and their
Right.
car runs out of gas, like if they have a smartphone, then they can still, so a lot of times you see these movies where they even have to they have to break it, or they have to make sure that we know that they're not getting coverage. And this movie very much integrates the smartphone in a lot of different ways that feel very to the moment. But at the same time, the movie does, as you say, have that kind of noirish, old fashioned, classic cinema kind of undercurrent to it. So he very smoothly juggles those two things.
Right. And just like from a textural perspective, from the costume design and the wallpaper, like we were talking last week about Till and how so much care is taken with like every pattern, every design. And that's true here too. Yeah. And not just because it's pretty. I think it establishes.
It's revealing.
It's revealing as to their characters, and it also signifies an evolution as these characters find themselves in one another's lives in various times and places. And so it's relevant in that way too. It's very thoughtful in that way too. So I enjoyed it. And the end is just devastating. I'm just going to say, like, it's beautiful, just intense, just
yeah. It doesn't.
I don't want to say any more of it.
You leave carrying it home with you for sure.
Yeah, and just again, like the muted palette there at the end is such a contrast to what we'd seen earlier on in the film, and so perfect in terms of setting the tone for that final scene or two. Yeah. I'm like dangerously close to just like bursting and telling everybody everything, but it's just so good, you guys. Please go see this.
It's in limited release now. It is coming soon to MUBI. They're the ones who actually acquired it, but they are giving it theatrical first. Yeah. So, this might be the time to get that 7-day trial. I don't know.
Yeah, Tang Wei, who was so great in Less Caution, is just like alluring and sexy and dangerous and funny here. Anyway, so I'm saying 9.5. I'm
going to say 9. Yeah, okay. This went up in our conversation. It's great. It is definitely a film I think we're going to be talking about for the next few months, and as we look back at the best of this year, it's certainly going to come up.